Hello students, welcome back to this series of Lax Purana. Now we are here at the fag end of Indian society as part of GS1. The last topic of Indian society is globalization. This is a very important topic because you see at least every alternate year there is a question on globalization. And the reason that in the recent past of COVID you see that this globalization as a phenomena was questioned. They were talking about the protectionist tendencies, they were talking about reverse globalization, they were talking about deglobalization phenomena. So in that context, understanding the aspects of globalization and its impact on the Indian society becomes important. Let's have a look at the questions and let's see what dimensions of globalization has to be included with respect to the Indian society. And when we look at the globalization as a phenomena, one very important dimension that has to be included in the notes is what is the understanding? What is the understanding? What is the understanding of the phenomena of globalization? It is a phenomena with respect to the integration, with respect to the interdependence, with respect to the interaction, with respect to the interconnectedness. That is with respect to your globalization. Once you see this globalization understanding, then the immediate thing that you have to see is what is the impact of this globalization. What is the impact of the globalization with respect to the economic dimensions? What is the impact of globalization with respect to societal dimensions? This economic aspect, anyway, you would do it as part of GS3. As part of GS3. This is done as part of GS3. But with respect to the societal element, we have to do as part of GS1. This might be with respect to what is its impact on women? What is its impact on caste? What is its impact on children? All these dimensions have to be covered with respect to this. What is its impact with respect to the tribal section of the society? What is its impact on the religion? So what is happening is when you look at globalization as a phenomena, this is a universal phenomena. There is a broader concept. And this broader concept will have multi-dimensional impacts. And in the context of GS1, we have to emphasize on what is its impact on the society, especially that what is its impact on the culture of India, the Indian culture. Are we losing our identity? Are the global cultures dominating the local cultures? Or are local cultures being promoted to the status of global cultures? All these dimensions have to be interrelated, all these dimensions have to be understood. Because at the end of the day, when you try to summarize the impacts of globalization, it is either homogenization that is happening, it is either hybridization that is happening. Here what is happening is, it is either the composite culture which is evolving, or it is either one culture is dominating over the other culture. Once you try to understand these dynamics that are existing with respect to the impact of globalization on the society, on the societal dimensions, it might be the hybridization, it might be the homogenization. You see different concepts evolving like Uberization, like McDonaldization, all these concepts are evolving in this context. So your dimension or your notes will certainly have to include what is the understanding and what is the impact on at least tribe, at least women, at least caste, at least children, and at least culture. Because what happens is you see music being impacted, fusion. You see dance being impacted, hip hop, right? Cuisine being impacted, right? So the dressing sense being impacted, the language being impacted, English, Tenglish. These are the certain evolutions that are seen with respect to the impact of globalization. So all these dimensions have to be understood. Let's look at the question: is diversity and pluralism under threat due to globalization? Again, it is asking what is its impact on the culture, local identity or global identity. Again, impact with respect to the culture. It is asking globalization is generally said to promote cultural homogenization and cultural specificities. Discuss the positive and negative effects of globalization on women. Core of cultural diversity. See, the question is fundamentally based on two types. Either what is the impact of globalization on culture? Cultural diversity. That is what is the broader question. You see first 4 questions, you have 3 questions being asked on cultural diversity. Or what is its impact on certain section of the society? It might be women, it might be old age section, or it might be tribal. That's all. Very simple concept when you boil it down. Right? Now let's have a sample question about this globalization. And when you look at the sample question, we are seeing, are we losing our local identity for the global identity? It is asking you, are we losing? That means, it is saying, that means, is the global identity trying to dominate the local identity? Are we at all losing? Or still are we able to preserve the local identity? These are the 2 dimensions that you have to generate. You cannot simply say that yes, global identity is dominating the local identity and you write the points on it. No, because it is asking, are we losing? It is actually questioning. Are we actually, it is questioning, are we actually losing? It is, you have to write both the dimensions and take a stand. Take a stand. That either global culture or global identity is dominating the local identity, or either with respect to your local identity prevailing the global identity, or there is global identity mixing with local identity creating a hybrid culture. Is this happening? So these three dimensions have to be discussed in the answer, right? So you can simply introduce by introducing or writing what is globalization. Once you talk about what is globalization, it is a process of interdependence, it is a process of interconnectedness, it is a process of interaction. And when you talk about this globalization, then the first aspect you have to see is the local identity for global identity. How are we losing local identity for global identity? That means this first dimension, the global identity dominating. The family structure. You see, with the impact of westernization, with the impact of industrialization, with the impact of globalization, there is nuclearization of family that is happening. Then with respect to food culture, the McDonaldization that is happening, the dressing pattern, the dhoti to jeans. You see today, the jeans have become a common form of or common pattern of dressing even in rural areas. That is existing. You go to your temples wearing dhotis, do you go that? No, you wear jeans and go to your temples. Or you go to areas of praying with jeans. The traditional dress has been replaced by the modern dress. Right? So what is happening? Then again language. You see that there is an hybridization of language. There is a different form of language evolving. And you see that there is also a threat of homogenization that is existing. Today you see English dominating the local regions. English dominating the local regions. For everything you say thank you, thank you, thank you. English dominating. Hardly anybody uses a regional form of thank you, a regional form of welcome, a regional form of greetings. You say hello. That is English. English homogenizing the language. That dimension is that. Then social institution. Social institution with respect to, there is a change in the cultural system. There is a disintegration of the marriage as a social institution. It might be with respect to evolution of the live-in relationship that is existing. So this is what the global identity dominating the local identity. Then apart from that, we have to see that the local identity is being preserved. And when we try to see this, that we see that there is so much of linguistic diversity that is existing. There is so much of regional cinema that is existing. You see, still people are attached, so much attached to the regional language, regional movies. Yes, in the recent past you see this pan-India movie, but still that is an Indian movie, Indian cinema. Right? That means so much of attachment. Right? Then we will have our festivals, Diwali, Holi being celebrated in Israel, Diwali, Holi being celebrated in Egypt. Now all these are what, my dear? All these are your local identity being promoted to the status of global identity, to the status of global culture. The universalization of culture is being seen with respect to this particular part. Then you see the Indian cuisine. Your idli, dosa becoming the street food. Street food where? In Northern American countries. Street foods in abroad. In Europe, you find idli and dosa as their street foods. Now that is again a global culture. I mean the local culture being put to the status of global culture. Again, Indian traditional healing process. For example, International Yoga Day. International Yoga Day. Right? So this is happening. Next, we talk about hybridization of local and global identities. The third dimension. That means we have talked about global identity prevailing over local identity taking the status of global identity, then both of them mixing, hybridization. When you talk about hybridization, they say that McDonald's sells paneer pizza, or during Navratra, the McDonald's goes vegetarian. That is what, my dear? That is a hybridization model. Then apart from that, you talk about the rangoli with synthetic colors. Now here what is happening? It is showing an hybrid nature. So what fundamentally here you need to understand is that we are answering the question completely on the basis of examples, completely on the basis of keywords. On the basis of keywords. Please understand, this is how we are going to handle the society questions. Right? Now let's have a practice question. When you look at the practice question, you can try practicing this question. A simpler one, that what is the, or discuss the positive and negative effects of globalization on women in India. Simpler question. Practice this. Right? Try to incorporate all the dimensions that we discussed. Right? We will quickly revise what we have learned in the Indian society because this is the last topic. And when you look at the summary of the learnings, the first thing we have learned with respect to answer writing is that we have to discuss what are the different parts of the question that are there. We have to identify what are the parts. Once you identify the parts, then you have to structure the parts. Then once you structure the part, that means you know there is a basic structure that is existing with respect to IBC, the introduction, the body and the conclusion. And when you look at the components of Indian society answer, because we are going for subject specific answer writing, that is what is the MSP of this particular program. And when you look at the subject specific answer writing with respect to Indian society, we are going to use data or statistics to a larger extent to put to the context of the answers of Indian society. 1. 2. We will talk about keywords. We have to have the repository of keywords to make the Indian society answers appear little professional. Because everybody can write, a chaiwala also can write an answer on the Indian society. Right? Then the third aspect that you need to discuss with respect to this is examples. These three are must components that are to be included with Indian society as a topic when you are writing an answer. Keep practicing. Thank you.